aren't descendants of American slavery receive reparations, and how should reparations be paid out?
Nope. Next question.
Y'all. Really?
Black people who are not descendants of...
That's you, Daniel. You're people from Haiti.
Right, but
so
we
you
were
don't
a
want
slave
reparations?
nation.
Yeah, but you don't get them from America. So if America passes reparations...
Yeah.
Wait, so are we saying just...
No.
No.
Wait, no. We already took your check back. You said what you said, all right?
Yeah, the question is...
Still rob people.
So let's not say the Americas, specifically
When you said American slavery, I was thinking of the American slave trade.
No.
Okay. I was
say...
referring to like the USA.
Yes.
Right.
I mean,
Okay.
We can answer either or question. Like, should all the Americans, like black people of all the Americas, get reparations, or should we just, or like if you're you have non-American ancestry, but you live in America as a black person, should you receive reparations?
You guys are all Caribbean, right?
Yeah. So none of us would be getting it.
Okay, I'm American black, so y'all can just forward me.
Whoa, that's how that works?
No, actually,
We'll give you half the check.
We'll give you a stimmy.
I'm for all black people, like, even if you weren't from, like, even if your ancestors weren't enslaved in, like a country that was under the control of the U.S., getting reparations from the U.S. government, why not? You know, my other side is Jewish. The United States government has certainly done a lot for Jewish people in relation to things with the Holocaust, and that wasn't actually something... Yeah, exactly. But I'm still like, cool, that's great, but black people deserve it too, even if it was like... And it's interesting, your point, because even if your ancestors were not enslaved in the United States was still part of the slave trade that brought your ancestors to wherever the boat dropped them off.
Right. Realistically, I say no, but yes.
Really?
Like, unilaterally, yes, only because when you start parsing that out, there's going to be excuses made to exclude so many people who are like directly impacted by the slave trade, to not get the reparations that they deserve. So yeah, no, blanket that everybody gets it.
Right. Yeah, this is interesting because 1,000% with the point that Margaret made, that the United States has also paid out reparations to people that they had nothing to do with. Right? They had nothing to do with the Holocaust and what happened. But what?
But not. I mean, yes, but
y'all know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
but we know what it is.
They weren't the principal agents of that. Right. That wasn't their fucking. That time.
Yeah, that time.
Yes.
But they directly played, victims of that. They are directly correlated to the slave trade.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And also, the reason that I think they should, pay like Black Americans or people that are living in the Americas is because we don't even have a history. It's not like they can say, all right, these people were brought here, straight to America. They've been American slaves. They came up north, whatever. They've been in America their whole life. We don't know that. The people were traded between countries. People were traded between different, continents, whatever it may be.
Right.
But they couldn't even keep records, right? All we know is that, you're from Haiti because that's as far back as you probably know about 3-4 generations, like max.
Before that, I'm sure you can trace most of my ancestry back to France.
You could have been in America at some point. Your ancestors could have been in America. Like you really have no clue. They kept no records. So why not give reparations out in that same way? The second problem I see with if they could say, all right, this person is definitely a Black American. They were a slave here. We can trace that back. There's history. That also creates deeper separation between the Black community because now it's like, oh, so you get reparations, but I don't. And why is that? Because you were a slave in this part of town and I was a slave over here, and like, why? I can't prove that my family was a slave. Like it just creates so many different and more levels.
It has to be like just a blanket yes.
Yeah.
Like it can't be yes, but.
Yeah.
And the fact that other groups have gotten reparations, like Jewish people have gotten reparations from both the U.S. and Germany, and then Japanese Americans who were interned during World War II, they got reparations recently, like $20,000 per person or something like that.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I don't know that. That's crazy.
So they have the money, so
right.
Yeah.
I think that ties into the other part of the question, like how do we get our reparations? Like how are we trying to get paid out here?
Like,
white
40
slaves.
acres and a mule.
40 acres and white
what
slaves.
Do you think?
Well, I said
You're a little quiet. A little quiet, Jay. What do you think?
Jay, I want you to think
very,
very hard about what you're gonna say, because you're speaking for your people now. Do not sell them into slavery if you don't really mean that shit.
So the question is, what should be the
Reparations,
What-
white slaves.
Right. What
Yeah.
form should the reparations take place in?
obviously should be capital, but
Slaves are capital. According to white people, slaves are capital.
I'll pass. Pass.
Should 1,000% be land.
Yeah.
Because we talk about money, but money appreciates, depreciates, whatever. So $1 million today isn't going to be $1 million in 10 years.
The only thing about that land thing, then you have the issue of indigenous people. So are we going to start giving away their land?
Right. The
So-
difficulty with land is that just based on the amount of reparations they have to give, there's not enough land to go around. Who are you going to take it from? Right. You can take it from all the people who directly benefited from it, but once you run out of them, you're going to take it from people who didn't benefit and weren't a part of that.
Again, I think there's different ways to do it, but it's not like commandeering the state of Florida and be like, oh, this is Black people bill. It's
I don't want
in the yeah, we don't want Florida firstly, but land can be like individual families, like you own this land in whatever state you live in, blah blah blah.
Right.
Like it
live
can
in
be
your house,
separated.
you
It's
own
not
it.
like saying like we're taking New York. It's not. That's not what I'm saying is land.
But
Like,
if it was
can
going to be
given.
a specific place, we would deserve New York.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1,000%. We don't even need like the upstate. We can just take this. We'll go deep into Long Island too. We'll take that from y'all. But yeah, I think land is definitely one of them because, again, money, like you don't even know what money's doing right now. Like we're moving on to digital currency. By the time like they give everybody reparations in U.S. dollars, what does U.S. dollars even mean at that point? Right? Land is the only thing that you can say it has value. It's gonna keep its value and appreciate.
What about gold?
Gold always has value.
I would take a gold.
I
Gold what? I don't know.
A gold. I'll take a gold. One gold, please.
I'll
A
take
gold doubloon. I don't know.
I would like to pay you in a gold.
And then watch the value of gold deplete the moment every
That's
Black person
fine.
gets their gold
That's-
bar.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we don't use that anymore.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Like the
Then the
value of
economy
whatever they
tanks.
get. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then black people are the richest.
Yeah.
Who
Black
said
Americans.
Bitcoin earlier?
I think
That was Jay, right? That's so funny, right? Which is like a legitimate thought because it's valuable right now, right?
Right.
But it's also backed by nothing.
Yeah.
Facts.
But also, so is the U.S. dollar.
Right.
It's backed by Elon Musk, bro. What are you talking about? No,
Like-
I think any form of reparations has to be multifaceted because they're gonna find a way to like sweep
Right.
the rug under you, right? Because they can always devalue whatever they give you,
Yeah.
and then you've got nothing.
I also
So-
think about reservations,
Yeah.
Like that Native Americans got. That's trash.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty high.
No,
Right,
no,
it's
no,
pretty
the
trash.
Land, the land is, you can't grow anything on that land. The water might be polluted, whatnot. It's like,
They live in like third world country conditions on some
Yeah.
of these reservations.
No, I like the idea of land, right? Like something that like families are given like individual pieces of land. And it's not like a reservation where we're just gonna pick the crappiest land and just toss that your way. It's like, nah, I want that prime real estate right here.
Yeah.
But then I also think you have to, like, if you're gonna give land, you have to give some sort of monetary like capital investment
To maintain
because
that land.
exactly, like if I've never been a landowner before and you give me my 40 acres, right? In a year, I'm gonna have to start paying property taxes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For the first time ever. I'm not built for that. I'm not prepared for that kind of mentality. And that's the difficulty with reparation. There's no cure-all, right? That's why in order to do it, you would have to fundamentally reshape a lot of the ways we think about financial services and social services and education. Like, it's across the board. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not like I think the reason it was so easy to give Japanese Americans and Jewish Americans reparations was because it was like, all right, we fucked up for a few years, our bad. This is 400 years of every aspect of your life being impacted.
Right.
You can't fix that with land or money or better schooling. You got to fix it with like a whole package.
So you're saying multi-tiered reparation.
Multi-tiered. Right.
I totally agree. I do think it sounds complicated, and maybe just we should do white slaves.
Jay, how you feel about that one?
I'm fine.
White slavery coming to a town near you.
I hope your mom doesn't watch this episode.
I'm sorry, Mom. I would buy you. I actually did want to circle back real quick once again to our friends, the Latinos.
Mm-hmm.
Do they get reparations?
For what?
If they were,
Um,
if they, like are how do you determine that if they're descendants
That
of
goes back to who's black and who isn't.
right?
Right.
they gonna be black that day. Oh, y'all handing out the checks? I'm Dominican.
All the Dominican people
Yeah.
like, hey, come on, look at this.
I'm clearly black. No, but
I don't know.
yeah, so,
Honestly,
So many lines to
there's
draw.
a lot that I don't know about reparations in the past that, like, to my failing, I just never bothered researching because I knew black people weren't going to get it. So I was like, why piss myself off learning about other people who got
Right.
it? But how did they like give out those reparations to Japanese Americans and
I mean,
Jewish Americans? It's easy to trace who was
Yeah,
impacted.
that
That's-
was recent history too. That's
Right.
why it's
Yeah.
probably
What I'm
easier
saying.
to.
and they actually viewed them as people.
yeah.
And so
Right.
instead of property, so there's actually a record there saying like even if you took them into the internment camps, like they probably had names and different
Right.
things of people that were impacted by that. So you can say, okay, specifically these people need this money.
Yeah.
Right.
Black
will-
people don't have the
Yeah.
luxury of that.
This is probably not a perfect method, but I would say if you are Latino or even if you are like American, but the result of many generations of mixing, if you can't really identify like direct black lineage, nor do you experience the world as a black person, then you probably wouldn't get reparations.
I think
Dangerous territory because
It is.
very dangerous.
black people
It's
again
it's
can't,
tricky, but
might not be able to identify that as well.
Yeah, most people can.
that they wouldn't a black person who's neither visibly black nor has any like clear black lineage in recent history.
Logic.
Okay.
Right. The other
Yeah, so you got it. It's like that's a
the
good
other
example
difficult
actually.
thing, right? To circle back around to the other people who got reparations. Now that I think about it, like their reparations were probably easier to allocate because the things that were taken from them were like there. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm a Japanese American who was thrown in an internment camp, my shit was taken and given to somebody, put somewhere, so I can track where that went.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like there was a whole movement after World War II to figure out where all the Jewish gold and Jewish possessions and everything that the Nazis had claimed,
and stuff. Yeah.
like to really track that stuff down and return it to its rightful owners, or at least value what it is so that you can give them that dollar amount.
right.
You can't do that with slaves. You know what I'm saying? You can't
Yeah.
go back 400 years and figure out like, oh yeah, well when you were living your best life over on a completely different continent,
Right.
what did you have and how do we return that to you?
Jewish people were also given a quote-unquote homeland, which of course is problematic in and of itself because it was somebody else's homeland already.
Yeah.
And that's the thing
Comes
with
back to
the,
the
that's the
problem.
thing with the land.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You gonna check my shit? I
Right.
didn't do nothing.
And if you guys are familiar with like what
There's so
happened
much
in
land that's up for
Liberia,
grabs though.
Oh,
Let's be real.
yeah. In Liberia, Caribbean and American black people went back to Africa, went to Liberia, but there were native Liberians there, and they kind of formed a ruling class over them. And then there was a civil war.
Wait, the Liberians formed the ruling class?
No,
or-
the American and Caribbean. We did
Wow.
that. We did that.
We learned it from watching you.
Kind of. But yeah, it's
Which
tricky.
is also like, that let's just get land and go back to Africa and, have land there. It's also problematic because people
There are
now live
Africans
there.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that don't identify
You said it perfectly.
Black
We're
Americans.
here now.
Who
You
don't want
can't.
us there.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no back, right? There's no control
Oops,
Z.
reverse.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no control Z's. Like no, we closed that program and now we open it again and there's nothing to default back to.
Mhm.
Like, we here.
So, if you have a problem with black people in America, it's your fault. We're here
If you
to
got
stay.
suggestions on how to do this reparations thing, hit us
Yeah.
up. Andrew Yang, I know you've been talking. Alright, hit us up in the comments. And let
Jokes
us know.
aside, I think your multi-tiered thing makes the most sense.
Start with land though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Gold!
So they can take that.